not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to It's Just Football on a beautiful Monday morning, which means we got brand new football to talk about today with you on the show. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner. Mike, how are we feeling this morning?
Feeling fantastic. Great weekend of football. A lot of big matchups. The Packers actually won a football game.
I was going to say, look at you with the Packers gear on. Pride for that overtime victory against Bailey Zappi.
Ooh,
y'all
big
really,
comeback win.
Oh, y'all really
home.
Pulled it out, didn't you?
Against a third-string rookie. I mean, that's what championship teams are made of right there. They really showed the special stuff.
You know, when your back's against the wall, against a quarterback that isn't even allowed to throw the ball away, at home, back-to-back MVP, you just got to claw it out, and that's what the Packers did this weekend.
They made the stops when it mattered the most.
Keep telling yourself that. We had quite the football watching experience. Hopefully, you guys did yesterday as well. There was a lot that we had going on. You and I talked about this before. Game started at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time and didn't get over until 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a full stacked slate of football, which means there is plenty to talk about. Got to usher in the guys in the production suite as well. We got Quinn, Saab, Stone, and Eli in there with us. Fellas, how we feeling? I see, Quinn, you are decked out in the Bengals gear. Even though they didn't play yesterday.
Didn't play, but
you're keeping
they
it
are tied for first in the AFC North now.
So okay, we asked the question a couple of weeks ago. Do you like when your team plays on Thursday Night Football? So
when stuff like this happens, I
was gonna say, how did it feel for you? Just kick back?
Yeah.
Get a little bit more buzz than you would normally?
And that's what we said, too. It's like kind of like a mini bye week almost. Like it was a very relaxing Sunday. You get to kind of maybe watch some guys that are on your fantasy team, like just do stuff that you normally wouldn't do. And it's cool when your team ends up in first place, too.
Well, especially
to win all the way around.
When literally the rest of your division loses, that week. That's always a good feeling. You win on Thursday night and then get to watch everyone crumble. All in tight games, too.
Good perk. It's a good perk. Quinn, we got a question of the day. To start us off?
Yeah, who's your guys' MVP thus far through this young season? I guess it's not really a young season anymore.
I mean, look, it's kind of a young season. There's 17 weeks. We're like a fourth of the way.
We're flying through, though.
We are flying through it. God, don't tell me that. It's going to be over before we know it.
I think my MVP right now is Josh Allen. We said, when Ben Sola came on last week, he said it was the MVP bowl between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And I think it's harder to come away from that. And I tended to agree through the first 3 weeks. Hard to come away with that and say Lamar outplayed Josh because he did. I mean, Josh, I think, handled him, had the game-winning drive. To me, it's Josh Allen.
I think that Josh Allen's certainly in the conversation. I think Lamar's in the conversation. We would love to hear from you guys. Chat, this is fully open to you. We do questions of the day because we would love to hear your answer as well. We're 4 weeks through the season. Well, not quite. We got Monday Night Football. But, dude, I think it might be Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not just saying that because he whooped my team's ass on national television last night. But, what's this offense going to be? No Tyreek Hill. We still like what they've got. But, what are they going to be here? What are they going to do at running back? All this kind. It don't matter, man. Don't matter. The guy Patrick Mahomes does stuff that nobody else is going to dare to try to do.
That throw last night was his, Heisman moment.
It's stupid. It was stupid. Nobody else
that's
even
kind of a thing
thinks
for MVP
of making
too.
that throw. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off too much.
No, that's you always talk about the Heisman moment. MVP kind of has that too. You know what I mean? Every MVP kind of has that one or two throws where it's that was where he changed everybody, or that's where he won it. And that little touch throw last night, that was it for Patrick Mahomes.
We still thank you for that, Sav. We didn't watch it live, so we really needed the reenactment there. That was good. In the chat, a lot of early thoughts for Jalen Hurts. Shout out 4-0 Eagles, dominant comeback win.
They're 4-0. They're the only undefeated team in the NFL.
I don't know if I wouldn't put Hurts. I don't think I'd put Hurts over the other.
But
I would.
Value to his team. To me, it's Josh Allen is the offense for the Buffalo Bills. The offensive line's average. They've been banged up in their receiving core. Yeah, they have Stephon Diggs. They do still have talent there, but it's been him. Jalen Hurts and that Eagles offense.
Would you say that he is him?
Yeah, Jalen him, Josh him. They're all hims. But Josh Allen, like, is the offense. Jalen Hurts, like, he just has to facilitate with what's around him. And I think that's what's been the beauty of the Eagles and why they're such a house and why they're like 4-0 and probably the best team in the conversation for the best team in the NFL right now is just because there's no real way to shut down that offense because they have so many options.
Yeah, they've been incredible. Shout out to the Eagles, last undefeated team that we have left in the NFL. But fire them off. We'd love to hear who your MVP is and why you think they are your MVP as we kind of go through this show. But let's refresh the timeline for some of our favorite social clips that we saw yesterday. A lot of funny social clips that we had yesterday. So let's start it off with two teammates who no love lost between Adam PacMan Jones and William Jackson, formerly teammates here in Cincinnati. And William Jackson didn't have the best day yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys. Washington fell to the Cowboys yesterday. I think it was 25-10 was that final score. And PacMan Jones took to social media, as he often does, and let us know his thoughts about his former teammate.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm doing. What they did to Will Jack today, they barbecue grilled him. Will Jack, you in there? You know, we cooked your ass today to 450.
So anybody that doesn't know the backstory of that, these guys were teammates for 2 years in 2016 and 2017. William Jackson ends up leaving the Bengals. When he goes to the Commanders, didn't exactly have nice things to say about his time in Cincinnati and Cincinnati's organization. And PacMan Jones, being a Bengal through and through, took offense to that. And so they've kind of been beefing ever since. And Will Jack had... he gave up that long touchdown to CeeDee Lamb yesterday, and I think that's what PacMan was referencing.
It does crack me up that PacMan's like a Cincinnati staple now, like that he is an ambassador in some ways for the city of Cincinnati. Like, I see him out here all the time. I've done a shot with PacMan Jones here in Cincinnati, and his wife.
Wait, what kind of shot?
Hennessy.
Oh, okay. All right.
He is outspoken about the Bengals, but you know, you talk trash, and you play like shit, you're gonna get it right back to you. You know, it's kind of the Eli Apple thing. You better back it up if you're out there talking about your former team, anyone else in the NFL, because as soon as you get cooked, it's coming back to burn you.
Top 5 lists of players in the NFL who certainly would get in your face and remind you when you suck. I feel like PacMan Jones is in that top 5.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's in that top 5. We also had a situation with the Seahawks and the Lions. Big win for the Seahawks yesterday, 48-45. They come away with the win, and they did it without DK Metcalf. Well, not really, but they did it without DK Metcalf for a short period of time because our guy got an escort service because he had to poop.
I've never seen it. I can't say I've seen that before.
Look at him! Look at him sitting on the cart, and he's like got a serious face on. Like he's trying to play it off. He's trying to be like, all right, I got to make people think that I'm hurt, that I'm like going to the locker room.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, he should have been holding his knee. But there was also, I saw a ref, we had like a bunch of games up, and I saw a ref get carted off later. I'm like, did the ref have to poop too? No, the ref probably actually had a real injury. But I want to know though, how low down the totem pole can you go before taking a poop gets you a cart ride? Like if you're a special teamer for the Seahawks and you're like, hey, I got a shit, can I get on the cart?
Yeah.
How big a name do you have to be to use the cart to go take a shit? That's what I want to know. I wonder what the chat thinks about that. If you're let's just say a name on that offense. If you're DJ Dallas, you're backup running back, you got to take a shit. Are they letting you?
No, you probably got to walk.
You got to run.
I think you got to walk. All right, so I got the Seahawks depth chart up right now. DK, clearly.
He's getting
Tyler Lockett probably gets a service.
Lockett a poop ride.
Gino. Please stop calling it a poop ride. Gino is another one. Rashad Penny after yesterday's game.
You know what? Is OBJ going to the Seahawks after this?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Getting the free cards to the bathroom.
Oh, come on. Okay, we're done with this. I'm done with this game. We're done playing. Somebody shouted out Tariq Woolen as Dog of the Week. Maybe Dog of the Week get you cart service from here on out. But that was obviously funny to watch. Same thing that we saw with Lamar Jackson, whatever it was last year, a couple years ago. Final refresh of timeline that we have. Well, I got to say, Mike, of all the things that we were going to show on this program, I did not think Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach giving me wedding advice was going to be one of those things.
I would also agree.
If anybody missed this on Twitter yesterday, we have the clip for you so you guys can see it in full context.
I know you have strong thoughts on weddings. I'm in the middle of planning one right now. Do you have any advice for me?
Who are you marrying?
His name is Trevor.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll have to just set up a meeting and I'll talk to him. Okay, so where's Trevor from?
He's from Florida.
What does Trevor do for a living?
He works in sports as well, covers football.
He does what?
He covers football as well.
Really? Well, I don't know. We'll keep a close eye on it, but whatever you and Trevor decide, I would kind of keep it on the down low, which you failed to do that. Trevor was probably planning to, but you didn't. So go ahead and don't say anything else about it, but as soon as the season's over, or even an off week, go elope. Trust me on that. Go elope. Because basically every female in the family is going to terrorize you guys until it's over. Once it's over, I mean, they'll be upset for a few days, but it'll be over. And then, you cruise along, have a happy marriage, have a happy life.
I'll pass along the message. Thanks, Coach. Congrats on the win.
Trevor, unless he's crazy, is totally on my side. And trust me on this. If Trevor doesn't have the sense to do that, tell him to call me, because, I mean, he needs to do. I've told all my kids, I'll give you $10,000 extra if you elope. So far, they haven't done it, but I would, too.
I'll have him call you for sure.
So that is obviously my wonderful, beautiful fiance, Alyssa Lang, who works for the SEC Network. She does sidelines for a lot of games that you guys see on college football Saturdays. I kind of need to check on that 10K.
Yeah, is that offer just for his kids?
Right.
Or is that just anyone?
Shoot, I'll become one of his kids if I get the 10K and I get to elope. So that was never in a million years did I think a college football coach would give me the advice of don't have a big wedding and elope. But there it was, Mike Leach.
Well, I'll say this. Yeah, you probably don't know this about me. My parents actually eloped. So, and they had me. So if you elope, you can have a Mike Renner. Hey.
Okay, so
we're
having a massive wedding. Yeah. We're having the biggest wedding possible. But obviously, that was a lot of fun. In the chat, the question of the day, Quinn, honestly, should have been, should I elope? That can be the new question. That could be like the secondary question of the day. Like, should I?
Throw it in the chat.
Maybe we'll put a poll.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Saab eloped. He went to Hawaii.
Oh yeah, you went to Hawaii.
I might have a Mike Renner.
Oh, yeah, well, there it is. There it is. Mike's like my small son.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, okay. All it takes. Okay. Yeah. Everybody. People in the chat already saying, "Get the bag, Trevor. You got to call him." I actually need to make this happen, if nothing else, but for content, and also to check up on the kid to 10K. Let's see. We get an extra 10K. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Did she pass along your number though? Are you have a meeting set up with him? Because he offered.
He did offer, and we're in the works. Okay. It's the my people getting with his people. We're trying to figure something out. If it happens, y'all will definitely.
I'll say this: I bet you could get him to officiate your wedding. I bet you he would. If you eloped, he would probably officiate for you.
He'd probably just stand up there the whole time and just tell us how he wishes he wasn't there because he wishes that we would have eloped.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you elope, he would officiate.
Oh, okay.
He would, do the read you whatever.
See, now I got to think about this. This is a good thing to think about.
Well, you guys are burying the lead a little bit here. I think the most important part is he going to watch the show now? Because he knows you work in sports.
No, probably not.
Did
you see how
should watch the show.
Did you see how shocked he? Of course, he should watch the show. Everybody should watch the show.
But maybe he checks you out and he's like, "Oh shit, this is really cool what these guys are doing."
I mean, that's the only reaction.
Maybe we get him on the show. Maybe that's how we.
Did you see his reaction when Alyssa was like, "Yeah, he actually works in sports as well." He was like, "Really?"
And then he goes and he looks you up and he sees it's just football and now he's hooked.
Mike Leach, we know you're in the chat. Appreciate you, my guy. Be the chat champ one of these days. Shout out to Abel Fett, by the way. We didn't shout him out at the top of the show. He is our chat champ of the day. Once we get the dog of the week, we got to hear from you. We got to hear from the rest of the chat as well. Let's look at some final scores, all right? We recapped a couple of things as we were doing Refresh's timeline, but let's go through some final scores that we saw on Sunday. Had that Vikings game, that thrilling Vikings game against the Saints ends 28-25. Mike, that one was a blast. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a better London game.
Ooh, that's a high bar. I honestly feel like I never remember the London games because they
stink.
They're always stink.
They stink. That could have been the best.
It was definitely a good rematch, of one of the most thrilling playoff games of all time. But the ones I'm looking at they were close games. Let's go over Jags, Eagles. We said Bills, Ravens. Those were the games of the weekend. End up close scores. But rain games, ruining them, in my opinion. 5 fumbles for the Jaguars, a bunch of drops in that Bills-Ravens game.
Yeah.
Like, playing in the rain, I get it's the elements. I get you got to play through it all. No excuses whatsoever. I'm saying as a fan, I had less fun watching those games because they were in the rain, because we didn't get to see these two teams the best.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I mean, the weather was obviously a bummer for a lot of reasons last week, both football and non-football related. But it was really cool to get to see the Eagles come back the way that they did, right? Jalen Hurts throws the early interception, not a good throw. Jags get up 14-0. It's in Philly, and yet they adjust. They're cool. They're calm. They're confident. They play their game, and they knew that would be enough in the end, and it was. So I really loved that game. Bills versus Ravens, I thought this was a big-time back-and-forth game. This is as close as we wanted to. I said on my podcast afterwards that I think we see these two teams face off again in January, and whoever wins the most regular season games could end up winning that game. Maybe it's even to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I also just want to say this. I don't have any problem with what John Harbaugh did at the end of the game, going forward on 4th down. You are putting the ball in the hands of your best player that you could control. You're putting the ball and the game in the hands of your quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Yes, the play did not work out, but to me, that is what you go and do, because if you kick a field goal, what, you think you're going to stop Josh Allen from getting into field goal range?
I mean,
no.
they didn't. That was,
of course not.
They literally didn't.
Right.
That was the next drive.
Right. And so I'd rather take it into my own hands, go score the touchdown. That was a situation where I would have gone for it. I know Ravens fans are pissed at Harbaugh today, but I would not be.
It's like an ethos. You know, it's you live by that, you die by that. But the analytics say more often than not, it's going to be the correct decision. Or more often than not, it's going to pay out for you in the long run. And it's the whole point of you're not just trying to make overtime. Overtime's a coin flip if you win in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to win the game.
Yep.
You know, you're not trying to keep it close for as long as possible. You're trying trying to ultimately have the more points at the end of the game. That decision, if you convert there, not even if you convert there, just like going for it in that situation, going for a touchdown there is the best chance to win the game. Just going up by 3 gives you a very high probability of what we saw, Bills come back down, kicking a field goal, or Bills were obviously in striking distance, could score a touchdown there, go ahead lead, and then you have no response. You don't get the ball back into your quarterback's hands, and it's over. And I think I'd rather trust Lamar Jackson to win this game for me rather than the Ravens defense, how they've played so far this season.
How worried are we about the Detroit Lions? Because Detroit Lions have scored the most points in the NFL through 4 weeks, 140 points. They are 1-3. Their defense is somehow worse than the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. I mean, it's not a good look for this team, man.
They're 35.3 points per game allowed so far this season. They're just so soft up the middle. They need some DTs.
Yeah.
They need a little more physicality on that interior, that defensive line, because right now they just get caved in the run game by pretty much everyone. So how worried am I? Like, I'm very worried. They obviously weren't predicted to be a playoff team, but when your offense is playing at the level they are, you should be. You should be competing for playoff spots. But this defense, I just don't think they still have the dudes quite yet. One off season away.
Getting into Dogs of the Week, before we get to that, I'm just checking on some chat messages. Bonker said, invite Coach Leach to your wedding, Trevor. I mean, that's a guarantee. It has to happen there. Josh said you guys got to have him on the show. Maybe we will. I don't know. Maybe we'll have the phone call at the show.
That'd be great, actually.
Lane said, Mike Leach definitely giving Trevor poop rides via Lope. So I guess that's what gets me access to the cart. Yeah, which is cool. Jake actually said, I could officiate the wedding since I got ordained by Universal Life Church. Jake,
hey,
might need your services here, my friend. And then a lot of people are just agreeing that you got to elope.
Yeah, 93%. The overwhelming majority.
93%?
Pro-elopement. Yep, 93%.
I will say, though, I love weddings, so.
I do, too.
Selfishly.
I do, too, but I don't want to pay for I'm not paying for one,
Yeah.
Big wedding, manipulative, overpriced. Maybe it's worth it. We'll see. Somebody's asked, is the chat invited? Of course the chat's invited. I'm going to pick a random day where I'm just going to be like, yep, everybody in the chat today is invited to the wedding. And then I'll just send you an invite. And if you're not in the chat, every chat champ's got to be invited to the wedding no matter what. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's get into Dogs of the Week. Everybody's favorite segment. We already got some shout-outs
He gets after it. He's a dog. Dog. He scored 5 touchdowns. Dog. He's a dog. He's a dog. He is a dog. Absolutely.
I always forget that we have that, and it's the best thing, so I shouldn't forget it anymore. Already got a shout-out. Steven gave us a shout-out for his dog of the week. Tariq Woolen, rookie, pick 6 this game. They end up winning by 3, so it's obviously huge for him. Rashad Penny, dog of the week.
I'm honestly pretty pissed I didn't put Rashad Penny in.
You didn't have Rashad Penny in? You couldn't shut up about him yesterday.
I love Rashad Penny. He was one of my favorite running back prospects since we started grading in PFF. I thought he was tremendous coming out of San Diego State. Has probably some of the best vision, I think, of any running back, if not the best vision of any running back in the league. Now, my number 3 dog of the week, though.
Go ahead. Fire away.
Also had a pick 6.
Ooh.
Jack Jones.
Ooh.
And he's had the dog in him for a while. He broke into a Panda Express back when he was at USC, I believe in 2018, before USC and him ultimately parted ways.
What?
Left him without a football team for a year, goes to Arizona State, a couple years there. Not highly thought of as a prospect because of his past history, of his dog mentality that leads to Panda Express break-ins. But Jack Jones, pick 6, forced fumble recovery. His T-step is nothing short of elite. This guy, the click and close ability is there. I think the Patriots have something real here. He was former 5-star, this guy, Jack Jones. Like, he was highly thought of, but just kind of derailed his own career, as we said. When he came to Arizona State, he was only 159 pounds. Has developed over the last 3 seasons into a guy the Patriots picked in the 4th round, and now he looks like one of the best rookie corners in the NFL right now through 3 weeks. So very impressed with what he's done so far.
Look, I'm not condoning the Panda Express act, but
it is pretty good. The teriyaki chicken.
There have been times when I've been in an airport and Panda Express is closed.
Oh, dude.
Where the thought has crossed my mind. It's like, what would I do for Panda Express?
Post-COVID, they didn't open the Panda Express in the Cincy airport till like mid-2021. I remember going there just fuming. It was like, open up. I felt like Jack Jones.
Panda Express is one of those things where, like, once you say it out loud, you gotta have it.
Yeah.
You gotta have cheap fast food, Chinese food.
It's so good.
And it's so good. Okay, dog of the week. We got Jack Jones. Number 3, my dog of the week. I'll stick with corners. I'm gonna go with Patrick Surtain II, one of the highest graded corners that we had coming out of college football 2 years ago when he was in the 2021 class. Obviously, he's got the famous last name. His dad was a longtime pro in the NFL, and man, is he looking like a stud already. There were times last year where he was already showing flashes, but this year he has been absolutely fantastic. Yesterday in particular, almost an elite grade in coverage, 89.5 initial grade. He had 11 targets. They went after him, and the reason why is because of the picture that you see right there. He was tasked with guarding Davante Adams for a large portion of that game. Only gave up 6 receptions, 53 yards allowed. A lot of them came on one pass, but he had 3 forced incompletions and 2 defensive stops. He won that day. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of Davante Adams' yards came when he was going up against somebody else. When he was going up against Surtain was fearless. He was right in his face, and he played a mano and mano, and I love to see it. If you go back the first 3 weeks of the season, 14 total targets, 8 receptions, only 45 yards allowed, and 2 more forced incompletions there. So Surtain, he doesn't have those interceptions, but because he is a corner who is truly a lockdown guy. You just don't like to go his way very often. And when you do, it's a lot of underneath stuff. It's stuff that's not going to advance the ball very much. And that's really the only way that you can go after Surtain. So absolute dog for manning up one of the best wide receivers in the NFL one-on-one in Davante Adams. Love to see it.
Yeah, the only cornerback in the NFL I would for sure take over him at the moment is Jalen Ramsey. After that, it's a conversation. And guys like Jair Alexander, Marshawn Lattimore, Marlon Humphrey, all in that conversation. But, some of those guys have injury history. Patrick Surtain, what he did against Davante Adams, the reason he's targeted 11 times is because they weren't giving him safety help. Like, Derek Carr's not seeing double teams. That's why he's going there. But then Surtain only allowing 53 yards is why he's, like I just said, a top 5 corner in the NFL, however you want to order him. I don't care, but he's a top 5 corner.
We got some votes for TJ Hawkinson in the chat. Dog. Evan Knoll said Sauce Garner. Dog. Hassan Reddick. Big day for the Eagles defense getting after the quarterback. Dog. Josh said Bailey Zappi. I don't know, but was Bailey Zappi a dog?
Bailey Zappi was a puppy dog.
I mean, he played.
Yeah.
He was in there. I don't know.
I
I don't know if I call him a
chihuahua.
Walt said Mad Max Crosby. Max Crosby's actually having a really great year. He is having a really great year. Who we got next?
My next comes from New York Giants. We're going nose tackle Dexter Lawrence. 8 pressures against the Chicago Bears. 2 sacks. 93.7 overall grade. This is a nose tackle. Again, 8 pressures from the nose is not something that you see every day. So literally, 8 pressures from the nose is a season's worth for some guys in that position, just because it's not one that affects the passer. Dexter Lawrence, I mean, he's in the mix of the best nose tackle in the NFL, if not solidified his status as it, just because there's not too many guys handling his kind of workload, barely coming off the field as a nose tackle and still producing the way he is. Giants are 3-1. He's a big reason why.
You really do not see those pressures. I'm looking at him now.
Yeah.
This is a big man.
Yeah.
This is a great Dog of the Week shout out. We don't normally get a lot of nose tackle shout outs on this show, but
the ultimate dog position.
The ultimate dog position. And Lawrence was having a really good year last year, too. I thought that he was emerging definitely as a full-time defensive tackle, not just this he's got a lot of size. You can play him at the nose. He can stuff the run. I really thought that he was getting better at that last year, so it's great to see you give him a shout-out for a really good performance. My next one, very near and dear to my heart, a player who has gotten shout-outs in the chat as a Dog of the Week before, but now it is really time to put that stamp of Dog of the Week on Dameon Pierce. Absolute dog this week. Look at some of the highlights that you see right up there on the screen. 14 carries, 131 yards, 1 touchdown. Most importantly, though, he had all 14 carries for the team. Nobody else got a carry. Nobody else got a carry. They heard us. They read the tweets. They're force-feeding the man himself. He had 6 missed tackles forced yesterday. 0.43 missed tackles forced per attempt, which would be, I think that's got to be number 1 in the NFL, at least for this week, or maybe it might be on the season as well with an average that's high. That is that high. 7.1 yards after contact per attempt. That is what makes you a dog. When you get 7.1 yards after contact per attempt, that's what being a Dog of the Week is all about. He also had the 2 explosive runs. Look, the Texans, they're not going to win a lot of football games this year. Don't know what to tell you. Just keeping it real. But Dameon Pierce is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I hope that they continue to give it to him all year long, because I really do feel like they have that back that they can absolutely lean on in Dameon Pierce.
They do, because they quite literally are not giving anyone else a chance. He had all 14 of their rushing attempts in this game. He was the rushing offense. After going into the season, with Marlon Mack in the fold, who obviously isn't there anymore, Rex Burkhead in the fold, people think it's going to be a RB-BC. No, it's Dameon Pierce. It's his job. Because he is
a dog. We got Scott giving a shout out to Jamal Williams, dog. Carlos Fuller, Derrick Henry, dog.
Carlos Fuller?
No, Carlos Fuller is who said he's giving Derrick Henry a shout out. Carlos Fuller could also be a dog.
I was like,
he might be a dog.
Is there some NFL player I'm not?
Yeah, do your job. Jamari Salyer, got a couple of shout outs for him.
Dog.
Good with him stepping in. Mm-hmm. Cooper Rush, quiet dog. I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll go dog.
He's like a guard dog.
I'll go a little dog. Yeah, a little quieter. All right, who's your last one?
Last one, number 1 dog of the week. It is the highest grade quarterback in the NFL per Pro Football Focus. The company we are employed by, Geno Smith. I mean, carving, slicing, dicing.
The butcher.
Yeah, we've just lamented the Lions' defense, whatever. That was as impressive a quarterback performance as we've seen all year. He just had whatever he wanted, was accurate on whatever he threw, and made no mistakes with the football. That was high-end quarterback play. Nothing short of it. 91.6 passing grade, as you see there. And now in the season, adjusted completion percentage, 81.7, highest in the NFL. Completion percentage, 77.3, highest in the NFL. Next closest is 72.5. Not missing. Geno Smith, it might be time to have a serious conversation about, do they even look quarterback next year? Is Geno, I was about to say him, but I hate that I use that all the time, but is he him?
Geno,
look. Does he give you one?
Look, you can't spell Geno Smith without him.
Yeah, there is.
There's an H, an A-I, and an M in Smith. Yeah. So you can't.
Truthfully. It's a little... I'm trying to think. There's also the S and the T.
Does he have a nickname? You talked about him carving up defenses. We just gonna start calling him the Butcher?
The Butcher.
Just the Butcher? Just out here carving week in and week out. Cutting the meat, slicing and dicing. Geno Smith, love to see it. Dog. Last one for me. Saquon Barkley, baby. Had to shout him out. Leading the NFL in rushing right now. Look at these week 4 stats. 31 carries, 146 yards. They are feeding this man. There ain't no warming up about it. They're making him the entire offense. And in fact, when Daniel Jones went out with an injury, and then when Tyrod Taylor went out with an injury, they didn't have another quarterback to put in the game, so they were just like, Saquon, take it over, baby. Go. Do it. Be Wildcat quarterback.
That was a weird series.
And they did. They did. On the season, he's got 84 carries, first in the NFL. 392 yards after contact, first in the NFL. 12 explosive runs, second in the NFL. This guy is looking like the Saquon Barkley of old. They were wearing those beautiful Giants throwback uniforms, which you love to see. This warms my heart, man. Comeback player of the year could very well be Saquon Barkley, and he could very well have this thing wrapped up very quickly if he continues to have this trajectory and pace. I think Ian Hartitz, who we know and love on this show, tweeted out that Saquon's on pace for like 2,400 rushing yards or something stupid on the year. Don't think he's going to get to 2,400, but being within that range a couple of weeks into the season, you not putting it against him?
Never say never.
Well, I stopped there. You can go 3,000.
Oh.
Mr. 3,000?
It was about the Brewers in Milwaukee.
I mean, he might fall apart if he gets 3,000 rushing yards. But no, dude, Saquon Barkley's been unbelievable, whether it's been well-blocked plays or plays where he's had to make chicken salad out of you-know-what. The man's a dog. The man's an absolute dog, and it's great to see Saquon healthy again.
And you don't get over 30 carries in a game anymore. You know, the only guys who have had over 30 carries in a single game since the start of last year are Saquon now, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Swift somehow stuck in there last year. But that's like, you don't get that unless you are a dog in the NFL nowadays.
Very true. Going through the chat, last couple of dogs of the week that you guys are giving shout-outs to. Connor said Frankie Louvu again. I agree, man. Frankie Louvu is playing like a potential defensive player of the year. Wild to say.
You're not wrong.
But thank you for saying that. I didn't want to say that I wasn't wrong because that sounds really narcissistic, but you said it, so Mike said that I'm not wrong. Josh said Garrett Bowles. Garrett Bowles had the valiant diving attempt.
That's one where he goes back into the he's probably pissed off going back to watch tape, the next day in the film room. He's like, look, I tried. They didn't try. I tried.
Coach is going to be shouting him out for the right reasons. Not an expert said Rashawn Gary moving to second in defensive player of the year odds, and he said that he got him at plus 6,500.
He was at insanely long. I don't know why.
Wow.
Eric got him at plus 50,000, something like that. It's
50,000
for 5,000. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Plus 5,000. Rashawn Gary is probably top 5 DPOY right now.
Yeah. We got a couple of votes for Rashawn Gary. AJ Terrell, great to see. A couple of people shouted him out as a potential dog of the week. Swept Amari Cooper. Miles Sanders at 27 carries yesterday, full carry load. You love to see it. Abel Fett, chat champ from Friday, big shout out. Said no dogs on my Colts this week, unfortunately. Unfortunately. That is correct. We have one more game that we are getting to here in week 4. It's the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. So let's preview that now. And to help us preview that Monday night matchup, we have Jourdan Rodrigue from The Athletic here with us. She's one of the best in the business, not just covering the Los Angeles Rams, but covering any team in the NFL. We are very gracious for her time here on a Monday morning. Jourdan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you.
All right, so the question that I have to kick this off is about Deebo Samuel. He has been a menace against the Los Angeles Rams especially for the last 3 games. I mean, he's got incredible usage, so many different touches in so many different ways against the Los Angeles Rams specifically. How are they going to stop this guy? Have they deployed different strategies over the last 3 games? Have they made this a talking point when you've been able to talk to the coaching staff? What are the Rams going to do about Deebo Samuel tonight?
Yeah, there's really no scientific method to stopping Deebo Samuel. It's kind of like how other teams talk about Cooper Kupp as well, in that if people had found out a way to actually stop him, they would have by now, and there's really no blueprint for it. Deebo Samuel is just an outstanding player and one of their star players in the sense that they move him all around. He has dimensionality to their pass game and what he can do after the catch and in the middle of the field. He adds dimensionality to their run game when he lines up in different ways. So basically, if you're looking at maybe the last couple of contests between these teams, the Rams strategy has seemed to be perimeter contain / come from depth and hit him hard, which sounds very simple, but when it's Deebo Samuel, it's not that simple ever. So it's going to be really interesting to see not only what Kyle Shanahan deploys with him and also minus Mike McDaniel and some of the things that Mike McDaniel was doing in their run game, and then how the Rams will seek to contain. I think my sense is that the Rams will really try to keep it simple when it comes to Deebo, making sure that they've always got somebody on him, and those people are the surest tacklers on the team. I'm talking about Nick Scott, who had that big hit on him, Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, Ernest Jones, I think will be a big factor in this game, but they have to keep him in front of them at all times.
So the narrative last year prior to the playoffs was that Kyle Shanahan has Sean McVay's number, 6 straight wins prior to the postseason. Was that postseason win a little exercising of the demons, or is there still reason to believe that there's something about this 49ers team, something about Shanahan that just consistently gets the better of McVay?
I do refer to that game as an exorcism, frankly. In my column after that game, I said this wasn't so much of a football game as it was an exorcism. It was something they needed to do, as a little sage burning in the building, right? But I think that all starts from zero now. I mean, the Rams have been very open and honest this entire week, how the 49ers have gotten the best of them in the larger picture and the grand scheme of things, but they did win the one that mattered. But in terms of this overall rivalry, it's pretty lopsided. And I think, again, what I'm curious about is what this 49ers scheme deploys and what it looks like without Mike McDaniel, who was plotting some devious things against the Rams, especially their inside linebackers with the run game over the last several contests that was very, very effective in helping them go ball control. And I'm more curious to see how these game plans and how agile these teams can be when stuff goes haywire, because it will, because it's these teams, right? And every single time they play, something weird happens. So it's statistically proven that Kyle Shanahan has had Sean McVay's number over the last several contests, but I do think that game at the end of the year, that NFC Championship game, and the way that the Rams won it, not just the fact that they did win it, but the way that they won it. They were super agile. Like I said, they changed their entire defensive scheme around for one game only to crank Eric Weddle down into the box and completely stop the run and dare Jimmy Garoppolo to throw the ball. So it's one of those things where they needed to show that. They needed not just to win that game, but to show that they could be agile and maneuver and manipulate their defense when their number was called.
I'll flip sides here for this next question and go to the other trenches with the Rams offensive line. I think there's a lot of talk on what they were going to do to replace Andrew Whitworth, and then opening the season, the whole world saw what the Buffalo Bills did to the Rams offensive line. Now, the Buffalo Bills defensive line since has shown that they're one of the best in the NFL, so I think that goes into the equation too. But what's kind of the update with the Rams offensive line? Are they making any moves, any shifts? Do they feel desperate to improve that unit more? I think over the season, whether it's guys playing in different spots or maybe looking for a veteran to come in, just what's the overall vibe with the Rams offensive line and where they are going into this game?
Yeah, if you'll give me a second, I have to lift my massive encyclopedia of Rams moves on their offensive line off the floor, where it's collecting dust down there. But yeah, it's been crazy with their line. Joe Noteboom now is healthier than he started the year in terms of got a little banged up in that first game, and it certainly, it showed. And then they're also looking at they're missing David Edwards, so Bobby Evans is going to be in. He was kind of like one of their later down the depth chart reserve players who can come in a pinch. He's played a lot of football for them. Coleman Shelton, I think, has been doing a pretty good job at center. And on the right side, A.J. Jackson, Alaric Jackson, really, he's a tackle who they're playing at guard. So far, it's seeming to work for them in terms of that interior push that teams like to get. And then on the right side, Rob Havenstein is now the senior member of the group, and he's kind of been holding it down over there. That's a lot. It's a lot different than how not only they ended the year last year, but how they even started the year this year. And what I'm most concerned about is how the 49ers D-line will affect this game. You know that they're going to want to only bring 4. That's the blueprint against the Rams. Bring 4 and put more people in zone, try to cloud up Cooper Kupp, try to tilt things toward Allen Robinson. The Bills showed that. They showed how every team is going to try to play them through the entire year. Now, can they? The 49ers are a team that, yes, they can bring 4. Something like 43% pressure on dropbacks when they're not bringing a blitz, something like that. We were looking at some of those things in True Media this week, and that's not good for the Rams. This could really dictate the game if the Rams don't have a plan to combat that pressure, especially when it's just 4. And I think you're going to see some different things. You have seen them adjust in different ways. Ben Skoranek at fullback, which is like one of the most fun things that I've been covering over the last couple of weeks. It's just awesome.
Right.
Like, just as a football fan, it just rocks. Like they're running 11 personnel out of 21 personnel looks, which is so interesting. And then they're using their receivers in a variety of different ways. They still have time maybe to bring up Malcolm Brown from the practice squad, help with their pass pro. It's going to be a lot of moving parts for them in terms of combating that pressure. On the 49ers side, it's going to be simple, pressure with 4.
You got one more?
I got one more. Sorry, just check there. So the Rams, the guy who's been kind of the one who has to play behind that offensive line has been Matt Stafford, and he leads the league in picks now, but obviously did that last year, but he made up for it with a lot of touchdown passes. This year, more picks than touchdown passes. The whole narrative all preseason was the elbow. Is it still a thing? Is it that to blame? Is it the offensive line to blame? What's going on with Matt Stafford and a slow start?
I think, like, you always hear the cliches of, like, burn the tape, right? When it's the
right.
a disaster such as that. I think that's really skewing that week 1 game against Buffalo. Buffalo just, like, ran through them like a hot knife through butter. So I think that's just one of those things that they're sort of removing from the statistical equation long term. But I'm not concerned about the elbow. Matthew Stafford, it seems like as time has passed over these last couple of weeks especially, he's felt better and better. He's not on a limited workload so far to open the season. And he's expressed that he's feeling better than he did, especially, moving into the season last year, kind of a night and day difference. So I think, on that side of it, then you're like, okay, well, a pick, it's just a pick, right? It's not affected by the injury. It's just an interception. And that's also going to be part of what the 49ers try to do. A lot of those games that they won last year and the year before that, they hassled Matthew Stafford early, got him to turn the ball over, or something weird happened and, a tipped catch by Cooper Kupp, which never happens, those types of things. And then the 49ers went ball control on the other side. And that's going to be something to watch for in terms of protecting the football early, getting out to a lead. That's going to be Matthew Stafford's MO today. It's kind of like, I know you guys know this, that's just kind of what you get with Matthew Stafford. You get those insane fourth quarter drives like that NFC title game, like some of the throws he made against Arizona last week. But you're also going to get some interceptions too. But in terms of the elbow, not worried about that right now.
Not worried about it. Well, Jourdan, thank you so much for the fantastic inside information. Everybody, if you don't already follow Jourdan, please do so on all platforms. He is one of the best in the business, especially covering the Los Angeles Rams. Thank you so much for joining us, Jourdan. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Let's get into some bets. Let's win some money off of that information that we just learned about there from Jourdan. As we always do on Monday, we'll get you guys out of here with some extra cash. We'll talk spread, we'll talk over-under, and then I want a prop bet, Mike, from you. What are your 3 bets that you're going with here on Monday Night Football with the Rams and the Niners?
I am going Rams to cover.
Okay.
I guess they're 1.5 point dogs, so Rams not right, let's say. I'm going over 42.5, and the prop bet, we just talked about Stafford, going to be hassled by that pass rush. Over 2.5 rushing yards. I think he gets a little scramble in there.
2.5, that's it?
That's it. I mean, that's just basically saying they don't think he's going to have a run.
This is a degenerate bet.
I think he's going to get a scramble in there because he's going to be moving around a lot, and over 2.5 rushing.
So you're going to give him one of those Josh Allen pump fakes, and then the linebackers jump even though he's already past the line of scrimmage, and so he just gets right by him for a little 5-6 yard gain?
Yeah.
That's what you're hoping for?
Just one of those. Just step up right through. They got exterior pressure outside, and then he's going to go right up through the middle.
Games in San Francisco. Niners are a 1.5 point favorite. I'm also going with the Rams. I actually think the Rams win this game. I think the Rams are going to win it. So obviously with them getting 1.5, I'm going to side with the Rams on that one. I'm saying over for 42.5. I think these offenses are going to put on a show. Unless DeMeco Ryans really just shows up, the defensive coordinator for the Niners, unless he just really shows up and clamps McVay, which for as good as DeMeco Ryans is, there are not a lot of coaches who can consistently clamp Sean McVay. There's really not.
But I also like the over because of the kind of tendencies of the quarterbacks. We said Stafford leads the league in picks. Jimmy G's not going to be far behind if he plays a whole season. When they screw up, when these quarterbacks play poorly. Yeah, when these quarterbacks play poorly, it leads to more points, not necessarily fewer points.
I'm going to go over Cooper Kupp 7.5 receptions because, let's face it, if there's an over-under for Cooper Kupp on receptions, I'm probably always going to bet the over just because there's a chance that this man could end up with 16 catches in a single game because that's the entire script they have. So even if I get burned on that one once or twice throughout the season, I don't care. I think it's always a safe bet given how much the Rams go after Cooper Kupp, how much Matthew Stafford trusts him. So I'm going to over Cooper Kupp's 7.5 receptions there. It's just, I got to bet on it. Just got to bet the over. It's just football. Do we have the final? Oh, yeah, the final numbers were 93% on me eloping for the second question of the day.
Yeah. I would say, to be honest, I probably would say don't elope. I'm like being real advice.
You just want to get
real advice is don't elope.
You just want to go to the party.
No, I mean, like weddings. I guess I have no fucking clue. I can't even like speak to how that would be, but I feel like weddings is something you remember, right? Like you like something to be cherished. I don't know. I remember like my brother's wedding so vividly. You know that if they didn't have that, I would be disappointed. I'll say.
I'm going to remember the 10K I get from Mike Leach, I'll tell you that. Not an Expert said Stafford over on interceptions. We scroll back up, look into the question of the day, which was who was your MVP? We had a lot of votes for Jalen Hurts. Ooh, Felipe said Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is MVP. I mean, probably he's having a fantastic year, but you probably can't give it to Nick Chubb just because there's always a threat of Kareem Hunt right behind him, who is a good running back himself. Scott said Josh Allen. You said Josh Allen, right? I said Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, we got a lot of Jalen Hurts love. A lot of people shouting out Hurts. I got one Mahomes in there. I said Patrick Mahomes, so I got one person at least agreeing with me. Somebody said Jared Goff. Big shout. Jared Goff is actually having a good year, I feel like.
Yeah.
I haven't watched every snap, but I feel he's the dude number one offense for the Lions.
Dude, their O-line and rushing offense right now is sweet, so that helps. I will say we haven't said anything about Penei Sewell, but Penei Sewell right up there for dog of the week every week. He's playing at an elite level of football.
He is.
I actually didn't watch him this past week.
My co-host on the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, Connor Rogers, said that Penei Sewell is going to be the best right tackle in the NFL soon, and that's Tristan Wirfs slander. So I can't. I can't in all good conscience agree with that. But if he wants to be number two, that's fine.
Him, Wirfs, Lane Johnson, you don't get better than that.
It's tier one. They're all tier ones. Before we get out of here, guys, if you have not yet and you own an Apple device, go download the PFF app. It's the best of PFF.com right in the palm of your hands. If you're into fantasy football the most, we've got fantastic fantasy football advice. We've got the Start Sit tool, which is fantastic, that Ian uses every Friday that we know you guys love. We got the betting analysis, like Mike used here on this desk. You got PFF Greenline right there. And then, of course, all of the articles, the recaps, the insight, the analytical approach that you love from PFF.com. It is all right there. Beautifully laid out in the palm of your hand if you got an Apple device. Go check it out, PFF or Pro Football Focus. Quinn, do you have an MVP before we get out of here? Do you have an MVP pick?
Lamar Jackson, because I'm a Louisville fan, so always got to ride with my guy, even though he plays for a division rival.
Wait, you're a Louisville fan?
Yeah. Both my parents are from there.
Oh, shit.
So I guess it rubbed off on me at some point.
Wow.
So I always stands Lamar.
I thought you were a Cincinnati Bearcats fan. Are you kind of like a surrogate
It's
Cincinnati?
both. I mean, I graduated from UC, but I grew up watching Louisville. So
if the Bengals play against Louisville, who are you rooting for?
If the Bengals play against Louisville,
I
got that'd be a wild fucking matchup.
If the Bearcats play against Louisville, who you got?
Honestly, probably Louisville.
All right.
It's just I just grew up watching them, man.
All right. Parents Legion. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right. Well.
Also, real quick before we get out of here.
Yep.
Bonkers chat champ today. It's about time.
Let's go. We needed Bonkers as the chat champ.
Number one fan, or I guess actually number two fan of the show behind Mike Leach, who's obviously the number one fan.
That's true, of course. That is true.
Shout out Bonkers.
Bonkers, you have been in the chat before the show has started for like 3 straight weeks, every episode. You deserve a chat champ day. I'm so glad that we're giving it to you. You're hyping us up before the show. If you guys haven't been in right before 11, anywhere from like 10:50, 10:55, Bonkers gets in there. He gets the conversation started. And for that, Bonkers, you are our chat champ. So when we get back into tomorrow, when we go through our segments, Bonkers gets to represent the chat. That's what we get here.
I feel pretty confident he'll be here too.
Yeah.
I think he'll show up.
Bonkers is absolutely losing it. Let's go, baby. You love to see it. All right, everybody. Thank you. So we're going bonkers for bonkers up here. Yeah. Okay, that was too much. We got to get out of here before this show totally gets off the rails. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner. For everybody in the production suite, thank you so much for watching It's Just Football. We will see you right here to recap Monday Night Football and so much more tomorrow. tomorrow. We'll see you then.
It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
Not just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.